Let's talk about NPCs, non-player characters. Now, I know this topic can be a little controversial, but hear me out. Listen to this if you've ever felt like you're walking through a world where so many people seem asleep, like they're moving through life on autopilot. The conversations repeat, and the deeper questions never get asked. You look around and you wonder, how can so many people feel so disconnected from their own lives? How can the world feel so loud, yet so unconscious? This is where the Matrix metaphor becomes powerful. In the Matrix, most people are plugged into a system they don't even realize is shaping them. They wake up, go to work, follow routines, consume entertainment, repeat the same beliefs, chase the same validation, and never stop to ask, is this even real? Is this me? Is this what life is supposed to be about? The movie shows a world where people are living inside of a program, and the tragedy is they don't even know they're inside of it. The term NPC, like a non-player character in a video game, has become a modern way to describe this background, scripted energy. But let's be very clear. This is not about saying people don't have souls. And this is not about judging anyone's worth. Every human being has depth. Every human being has a spark of divinity. The real point is that many people are living unawakened. Not because they're incapable, but because waking up is uncomfortable. It requires responsibility. It requires questioning. It requires stepping out of the safety of the script. Most people are taught from childhood to stay inside the script, the narrative. Be normal. Fit in. Don't ask too much. Don't feel too deeply. Don't change the narrative. Don't disrupt the system. Just follow the path that's been laid out. Autopilot is rewarded. Consciousness is inconvenient. Because when you wake up, you start seeing things differently, and the world does not always celebrate that. When you wake up, you begin to realize how much of life is built on unconscious repetition. How many people are performing instead of living. How many relationships are transactional. How many dreams are postponed. How many lives are spent chasing approval instead of truth. You start noticing how much of society runs on distraction, on surface level noise, on keeping people busy enough so that they never sit still long enough to actually meet themselves. And one of the most misunderstood parts of this entire conversation is the education system. Now, people love to criticize it and call it programming. They say school trains you to obey, to memorize, to parrot professors and scientists who have come before you. And in some ways, yeah, the system requires you to jump through hoops. You learn the rules. You learn the language. You learn how to cite, research, how to write, how to speak in the accepted framework so that you can earn your credentials. But the people who stop there are completely missing the point. If you want to win at the game of life, you must play it. You must understand it. You must master it. And then, once you have the competence, the credibility, the skill set, the real work begins. Graduation is not the end. Graduation is just the beginning. The PhD is not the final destination. It is the key that unlocks the door. Education is powerful because it trains you how to think. It sharpens your mind. It teaches you critical reasoning. It gives you the ability to articulate ideas, to defend arguments, and to build something real. And once you have that competence, you're no longer a passive consumer of knowledge. You become a creator of knowledge. The real power is what you do after you learn the script. The real power is in rewriting it. The real power is in using the system not to stay inside it forever, but to push back against it, to innovate, to solve problems that seem insurmountable, to create something brand new. This is what awakened people do. They don't reject knowledge. They don't reject education. They don't stay ignorant and call it freedom. They educate themselves deeply, so they can see clearly. They gain the tools. They gain the skills. They become competent. And then they stop parroting what has already been said and start contributing to what has never been said before. That is the difference between someone who is plugged into the program and someone who is awake. The awake person understands the system, but is not owned by it. They learn the rules, and then they know how to break them creatively. They know how to transcend them. They know how to build beyond them. And when you meet someone who is still fully plugged into the program, you can feel it. Not in an arrogant way, but in an energetic way. The conversation stays surface level. The responses feel automatic. The opinions feel borrowed. The desires feel programmed by media, by culture, by fear of being different. It's like speaking to someone who has never turned inward long enough to discover who they really are. Again, this isn't because they're less human. It's because they haven't had the moment yet. The moment that wakes you up is rarely comfortable. People wake up through heartbreak, through loss, through existential crises, through realizing that comfort is not the same as fulfillment. Waking up is what happens when the soul gets tired of pretending. And here's the truth. The world desperately needs more awake people. Not more followers, not more performers, not more consumers, more creators, more thinkers, more builders, more truth tellers. We're living in a kind of matrix, a psychological one and possibly a physical one, a system of conditioning, a system of fear, a system of distraction, a system that trains people to outsource their authority instead of reclaiming it. The only way the world changes is when enough people unplug, when enough people stop living unconsciously, when enough people begin asking deeper questions like, why are things the way they are? Who benefits from this? What is true? What matters? What needs to be healed? What problems have we accepted as normal that should be solved? The greatest breakthroughs in human history have always come from people who refused the script. People who looked at what everyone accepted and said, no, there's more. This is what it means to be awake. To live from soul, not from programming. To live from authenticity, not from approval. To live from truth, not from comfort. And here is the hardest lesson. You cannot wake someone up who's committed to sleep. You cannot force consciousness onto another person. You cannot rescue people from the dream if they still find safety living inside of it. Waking up is a choice. It happens when the inner spark becomes louder than the external noise. So, your job is not to convince. Your job is to embody, to live so awake, so honest, so rooted in truth that you become a signal, and the people who are ready will feel it. Because when you meet someone who is awake, you know. The conversation is alive. The presence is real. There's depth, there's soul, there's light. Not because others don't have it, but because this person has chosen to access it. So stay awake, stay real, stay conscious, learn deeply, think critically, master the tools, and then rewrite the script. The matrix is not changed by sleeping people. The world is transformed by those who come alive.